In a recent Akashic Record Insights program, a participant asked this question: are aliens real? Here's the response I received from the Akashic Records.
You're actually asking what I think is a very timely question. Because and so now here's the records. So let's talk about this. First of all, let's kind of go into this in our typical way of talking about sort of the difference on this topic between the static view and the dynamic view. Okay? Because so from the static view, essentially the aliens are anything that isn't of the earth, right? And so, I mean, you can go back a long ways into history and you end up in that conversation of, it kind of comes out, I think, a lot out of the conversation of who am I? Who am I? And is there more than me out there, whatever out there is, right? Like, I can travel somewhere, from my home, like, back then it might be I could go, I can walk all day and I still run into people. But if I go up into the sky, who's out there? So that it's a lot of this conversation starts by an awareness of what is beyond Earth, right? Like what's literally extraterrestrial. And then also through history are experiences that human beings have with things that don't feel like they are a part of the Earth plane, that they're extraterrestrial, they're alien. And the more they think that the more humanity has had, as humanity has developed its, let's say, technical mechanical abilities, using those technical mechanical abilities to leave Earth has become very much a part of the whole discussion of what's alien, what's extraterrestrial. Can we leave the Earth and come back? And if we leave it, what do we find out there? And based on whatever we find out there, how much of all of that's already visiting? I mean, do they have that ability to come to us? Right?
Like we're not dragging them home from space missions.
That's right. Well, theoretically, yeah. Yeah. I mean, in a certain sense, that's the whole, man goes to the moon thing, or people go to the moon thing, is it shifts the conversation out of theory and into reality, into what is practical, as opposed to what's theoretical. Now, all of that is what we can intellectually, through our minds, have conversations about, right? Because that's the aliens come to us because they use, their own spaceships, right? They're getting here through their own technical mechanical abilities. But then there's the whole conversation that you can mix into this, which would be simply called portals. In other words, there are doorways or thresholds or portals located on the Earth that make it easy for things to either come to us or for us to go to them, wherever them might be. Then as you begin to shift your intellectual awareness beyond, let's say, this dimension of space, and you begin to think about the possibility of multiple dimensions of space, and you weave that into multiple dimensions of space across the experience of time, you begin to see how portals would become possible. And then you mix that up into a lot of what we get out of, let's say, quantum physics and quantum mechanics, that what we're aware of is not the only dimension, right? And you start, so that you then start moving into what I think of as a dynamic perspective, which means that you're dealing with things that are either able to rise above, let's say, physical limitation, and are not, are maybe not even created within the physical limitations that we live within, means that you now have the whole possibility of what's alien existing in what we would call non-locality, which then can also be a way to talk about portals, which means that the whole idea of what's alien and, let's say, extraterrestrial can exist both statically and dynamically, all at the same time. And the records are saying that what they've always referred to through me as like multidimensional awareness is essentially that ability to take in the possible existence of multiple energy flows across any local expression or any like physical reality expression, and across any and all dynamic expressions. Which is also to say that aliens aren't like just limited to little green men or whatever. They can have both a physical expression and they can have solely an energetic expression. And especially as we move forward, more and more, we can have awareness of a whole variety of all of that. That in a certain sense, that's what we get. It's part of the shift in the human agreements, going from a dominance of the mind and the body over the heart and the soul. It's partly that in that integration of body, mind, heart, and soul, right, within an integration of who you are physically and spiritually, that you're able to move on the energy continuum through your own intention, through your own will, and connect with and across multiple dimensions of energy.
Thank you for listening. This has been an episode of Akashic Records Insights. To join the next session, go to akashicrecordinsights.com.